never cried or prayed so much, more than any man probably ever, most men ever will, like just in a short time, but where else can I go? It's like God, people will talk about, oh, religion is just a crutch or whatever. I'm like, sure, yeah, I need it. Like, how you think you don't need it? Like, I need God, I need Jesus. Like, there's no way I could have continued on.
Aloha, everyone. I am so excited about today's episode because we are bringing in my brother, Timmy Hamilton. He has shaped my life in so many amazing ways. For example, if it wasn't for him and my older brother Noah, they both charge huge waves and they're hard charger surfers. And so as a little girl, I was always trying to keep up with them. And then fast forward, I really appreciate how much Timmy loves his family. He wants nothing but the best for his family. He is continually showing up the best he can.
Continues to encourage us in faith and family. Really look up to him. Yeah,
but
awesome.
A few years ago, he could barely get out of his bed, and I thought he was gonna die. Actually, I'm only a year ago. Like, I thought he was gonna die any minute now, and he just has been through the ringer with his health. And so we're gonna dive into his story today to learn just what helped him get over the edge of going from literally dying. Like, I'm not being dramatic when I say this. Like, we thought he might not wake up any day now. And so
he has a gnarly story.
Today it was really hard for me not to cry. Like, I had to take some deep breaths and kind of look away because it's just, there's a lot of, we've just been through a lot. So I hope you enjoy today's episode. And we're just praising God that my brother's still here and he can be a father and share his story. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Tim. This is my brother, Timmy, and we are primarily coming on to talk about your health journey. It's been a pretty grueling 5+ years, and I'm very grateful you're here sitting with us.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy I have something to talk about. Thanks to you especially. I was going through a really hard time with my health, and everyone kind of pulled me aside and said, we got to figure this out. And Bethany had the great idea to send me to Mexico, and thank God.
Tim had been kind of going through a crazy amount of health stuff, and it went downhill really fast. And I had heard about CPI Stem Cell that's their Instagram hashtag, but it stands for Cellular Performance Institute, and they specialize in helping people heal and recover from a lot of more physical injuries.
Mine was the Autoimmune Protocol, which wasn't especially specific to me, but it was kind of a generic protocol for chronic illness, I suppose.
Yeah, and in my research, though, there was a lot of stories of not just joint injuries, but people healing from really awful autoimmune and metabolic kind of disorders. And so how about you just take people back to when you first found out you got diagnosed with diabetes type 2, which was a misdiagnosis, but we'll go back to that window.
It was funny when they were looking at my MRIs at the hospital there. The guy asked me how many car crashes have you been in? And I was like,
wow.
None. Maybe a little fender bender, maybe one time. I couldn't even think of one. But I did grow up surfing and especially riding my boogie board. I enjoy just riding waves, however, but a lot of my favorite types of waves were more suited for the boogie. And so those were always the most high voltage, sort of dangerous waves, I guess. It was more exciting to me. And a lot of those waves were really uncrowded where we're from. So it was like I had all I could get, all, you know, as much as
The
I
waves
wanted.
to yourself.
Yeah, where I could go surf some crowded waves or just go find the craziest wave and have it to myself or just a friend. Once I graduated high school, I was traveling a lot and kind of seeking out a lot of the heaviest waves in the world. And yeah, I've had some really, really crazy wipeouts. A few times I was, you know, just kind of like stiff neck for a month or two or whatever it was, but I never went to the doctors for any of it. At one point, I guess I was like 23 when I noticed that I was losing muscle in this hand. And so, yeah, like I ultimately lost most of my function. Like I can grip, but not very strong, but I cannot open it at all. Like there's no way. It's like I'm telling it to do the same thing. So that was like a first early thing where I was like, what's going on? When I was 30, so I'm 38 now. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes after I started, you know, just getting really thirsty and peeing too much and drinking too much water.
Yeah, I remember being out surfing together, and you had drank like a gallon of water after surfing. And like it wasn't quenching your thirst.
It was never enough. Yeah, I couldn't get enough. Yeah, that was really shocking to me. Throughout my adult life, I feel like especially from around that early 20s, I started to pay more attention to diet and nutrition, exercise, all that. And to this day, I feel like I'm only ever eating better than I was in previous times, right?
Yeah.
And so it was really frustrating to me to get that diagnosis and like have to deal with this new issue. I could never understand what even is diabetes. And to this day it's still kind of confusing, but I didn't treat it like I do now because I thought I had type 2 and I thought it was an early enough diagnosis or whatever, or maybe if you just nip it in the bud right away with proper diet and exercise, you don't need to be on insulin or whatever it is. So yeah, maybe I should have seen way more doctors, or I might have treated it a lot differently had I had known, because ultimately I got a type 1 diagnosis, which is not nearly as common with adults.
So you were being treated for type 2 though for a while.
Yeah, like they were giving me,
trying to heal yourself.
They were giving me metformin, which is a pill, and it was never that helpful. And I was just kind of like, I'm gonna just figure this out. These guys aren't really helping me. So ultimately, I needed to be on insulin, and I wasn't for 6 years or something. Certainly, that did a lot of damage to my body. Like right now, my feet feel like they're asleep, you know. So they always feel like that. So I used to surf on a surfboard a lot, like in my late 20s and early 30s. And then now I can't really feel my feet. So it doesn't really work. It's kind of weird, but it got way worse. And I was losing weight. I got down to 130, and I'm 6'2" with my shoes on, a little over 6'1", so I don't know what the
BMI.
The BMI, I think it was like 16 or something like that. I forget, but you guys can calculate it. But it's yeah, I was 130. I was like a 28 waist, just totally shriveled. Like I didn't have any more weight to lose. It was like, am I gonna start losing kidneys or what? I don't have anything more to lose.
Scary.
So that was when these guys basically had me go to Mexico, and it was cool because like from the moment she suggested it, it was only like 4 or 5 weeks later I was getting treated.
Yeah. And
I was down there for 2 weeks, and 6 weeks after I got home, I just felt like a whole new person, and I felt so good. It was just like amazing.
Well, it's crazy too. I think what hit me was at one point I remember thinking like, he's just not going to wake up one of these days. Like something's is just where we were at that point.
And like paint the picture too, like just seeing you as a dad and uncle with the children, always taking them surfing. You always had someone on your back. and just like so full of life and energy. And then just to see it, like, to paint the picture, like just dwindling, and like just having to like sit on the beach or like stay at home. And like it was awful to see you kind of just, your life was kind of being sucked away from you. And I can't imagine how frustrating and yeah, how awful that had to be to go through, like mentally, not only physically, but and just we were all feeling for you. And just we're like, everyone's trying to problem solve, like everyone. I'm sure you got tired of meeting the same people, like, oh, who are you? Like, oh,
everyone has the solution too.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing about life, right? Is you have to figure whatever it is out. And then when I'm like really in the dumps, everybody's got the solution, and I can't follow every single one.
Mm-hmm.
And I did try to follow a lot of different things, and a lot of dead ends. So I just didn't even want to talk about it with people, because they would have the miracle answer for me every time, whoever I talked to. And but I highly respect both of you are so good with nutrition and like thinking outside of the box, health stuff, that and I was familiar with Shane Dorian's story. So I had heard of CPI, and when you suggested it, I thought it was a great idea.
Definitely kudos to Bethany. She's always researching hard. For sure.
I mean, like, I just think there's so much information, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges with health, is like, how do you even navigate the information? And then what frustrates me so much is you were working with a doctor, or even since you've had
what happened too was Travis Smith told me, like, I was asking my friend Travis, because he's likewise, he reminds me of you guys, and he's really healthy and all that. And he said, oh, my friend has diabetes, like, you should talk to him. And so I talked to that guy. He got me with his doctor on Oahu. And once he ran whatever tests, he was like, you're type 1, And so that was really shocking. But that actually got me to start treating it with insulin. And so I do multiple daily injections. And I got it, like, on paper, I got it totally under control. Like, my numbers are all great. My lab work always looks awesome. And so the frustrating thing was I got everything looking great, and I just kept feeling worse and worse and worse. And I just kept getting worse. So ultimately, I come to find I have this thing called dysautonomia on top of that. So whatever the cause is, I don't know. I'm in like some Facebook groups for various things like diabetes, whatever it is. If it's a topic I'm interested, there's a group for it where you can bounce ideas off other people, and it's really helpful. And so I self-diagnosed that just reading other people's stories, and then confirmed it with doctors later. But that was what I felt was like gonna take me out, because I had so little energy. Every breath was a challenge. Just tired and sad and grumpy. Like, my emotions were horrible. They never really matched my circumstances either. My emotions were just random and weird. And I would just have to explain to my children, like, I'm sorry I'm in this state right now. There's nothing I can do about it. I just need to be away from anyone I love, because I'll just be a total jerk. And so I would just get real reclusive. I didn't want to get out of bed.
You have an incredible mindset, because I think a lot of people would have given up way before you did. Like, you still had this persistence to like keep showing up, because you have your family.
Yeah, I do have a profound sense of duty. So if something is absolutely required of me, I'll rise to the occasion. But I was really trying to whittle down requirements of me, because, I'm milking cows. The cows have to get milked. And so I would put whatever I have of energy, I would rise to the occasion. People would see me out in public and they'd think, whoa, he's really like not looking good. That was me putting my best foot forward, like trying to pretend I'm not sick and I'm totally fine. And I was putting everything I could to like pretend I'm not, and it was so hard. But yeah, the cows had to get milked, and I went through, for sure, like the craziest experiences, having to just stay alive and do what needs to be done.
Hey everyone, did you know we have a private community to empower families?
We know life is full of challenges and cultural norms can be leading us everywhere but the right path.
Families are stretched thin, teens are struggling, and staying anchored in faith can be really tough.
That's why we created something transformative, an online community designed to strengthen families, deepen relationships, question cultural lies, and encourage you to grow together in your faith.
Live shows with Adam and I, expert interviews, Bible studies, and fun family challenges, giveaways, and even brand new podcasts that you're listening to. We're here to equip you with the tools to thrive.
Our community will also be the first invited to our in-person epic family surf events that we will create memories that will last forever.
Join us on this journey. When you sign up for an annual membership, you will get free access to our top life courses, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win a trip to 4-3 to Kauai.
Awesome. So gather your family and join us for deeper connection and faith-filled fun in your home. Click the link to learn more, and we'll see you inside.
And I wanted to break down too a little bit of all the symptoms. So if anyone's listening who has family members struggling with similar challenges, if you can just share a bit about like the symptoms that you at the peak of your worst case, like worst place.
The list is so long. I literally had to like create a list and write down all my symptoms. And for like a couple months, I'd keep adding to it. Like Kaya or my wife or I would be like, oh yeah, I forgot this happens to me or that. And it's a pretty long list. Essentially, you can look up dysautonomia, but yeah, like I'm in Facebook groups and I've never seen anybody be like, oh yeah, this helped me. Like they're like, oh, I've just been doing a lot of electrolytes trying to get through my day. And like nobody's healing from it in my sphere, at least online. I don't know anyone in person with it, but it seems like there's new people joining these groups every day and everyone's just totally suffering. But it's like a nervous system dysregulation. So the autonomic nervous system, it controls digestion, just all the stuff you're not thinking about. Like I'm telling my hand to open and close, but a lot of stuff my body is doing right now is the autonomic nervous system. And so dysautonomia, just throwing everything out of whack. And especially my blood pressure. When I went to the neurologist, my resting heart rate was 177.
Oh.
So like me sitting here right now, like that, like 177.
Jeez.
And I didn't know what these numbers are. I just knew I felt horrible.
Yeah.
And
well, that's
now
actually, I remember having a moment, you told me your heart rate, and I was like, I had a meltdown, and I was like,
holy smokes. Yeah, that's
like,
when it
we
hit
need
us
to figure
hard.
something out immediately because this is even 100% more serious than I thought.
You can't last that long.
And
with a heart
that's
rate
what-
at that.
it's not sustainable.
Yeah, it's not
And I
sustainable.
knew I was dying. Like I was really dying. My wife knew I was dying. She knew she was just going to find me. Like it was a foregone conclusion. It was, I felt so bad, like barely getting through.
Where
24/7. Every moment of my life was like,
yeah,
trying to take my next breath.
like we're all of faith. Like faith is so monumental to you. Like where was your mind? Where were you guys finding? Were you able to find comfort in that time in your faith, or like were you struggling with like why am I going through this? Like I just want to know on that.
Yeah, level. I would almost breathe out, Lord have mercy with every breath.
Wow.
Never cried or prayed so much, more than any man probably ever, most men ever will, like just in a short time, but where else can I go? It's like God, people will talk about, oh, religion is just a crutch or whatever. I'm like, sure, yeah, I need it. Like, how you think you don't need it? Like, I need God. I need Jesus. Like, there's no way I could have continued on. I could have given up, like, for sure.
Yeah.
My sense of duty to my family is the only reason I'm still alive, because I would have just, I don't know. I think I would have just died without even like, you know.
Yeah, like
It was just
would have
something like
happened.
inside of me, keeping me to like, just got to take that next breath, whatever it is. Because mostly my heart rate, like, so my eyes would dilate all wrong. I would see too bright in the light or too dark in the shadows, and distance and close, everything. Like my eyes, the contractions of the pupil would be really weird. And that seemed to, I think everything was correlative with the blood pressure. Digestion was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, so like you had that season where you were so focused on nutrition, but your digestion was so messed up that the nutrition was like a waste of time.
Like I said, people are like, have the solution for me. Oh, you just need to get on this or that diet. Yeah, well, like, I don't absorb anything. Like, I could go on any diet in the world, and it's like, just throwing it out the window.
You briefly touched on like milking cows. Like, I just remember when you were like trying everything, like noodles against the wall. So Timmy has a micro dairy, it's raw dairy, and you were drinking raw milk, all sorts of like clabbered everything, milk raw related, just to like see if you could heal, like, because you were already taking all the drugs, you were trying all the things, but you're like, well, there's got to be some other solution out there. And having access to raw milk and trying that too is like, you know, it wasn't for a lack of trying that you weren't getting better. Like you were, and like Bethany called it too. It's like, I think the only reason Timmy's here is because one, the Lord's grace and providence in your life, and also that you has this incredible sense of duty to be with your family and provide and love on them. This incredible self-will to overcome one of the gnarliest challenges that a person can face. A weaker man would be gone with what you faced. And just to see you, like, after going through CPI and like seeing you back on the beach, like putting your wetsuit on with the children again, and it's just like, it gets me emotional, man.
I think
it's like, it's insane.
I think we're all trying to hold it together. But I like, one thing that really stood out to me too is like, you hadn't been able to hold Noelle, for example, your daughter, who's now 6, or is she 5? 6. And then all of a sudden you were able to like carry her up a super steep hill, when like prior to going to Cellular Performance Institute, you could barely even make it up that hill. And so it happened really fast. The healing happened so fast, and now you've done 2 treatments. So yeah, hopefully healing just keeps going in the right direction. And I think it would be cool to kind of, you might be able to explain stem cell a little better, but I think for a lot of people, they don't know much about stem cell. And so stem cell is like the primary like focus of your treatment, but you also did a lot of other treatments alongside of that when you were at the Performance Institute.
Yeah, and I do want to clarify, you know, they saved my life for sure, you know, but I have heard stories of people having lackluster results. So, you know, you got to temper your expectations. Yeah. I had, you know, it was do or die for me, and thank God it worked. The thing about it too, though, is there's no like bad side effects. Yeah. It's how much do you improve? It's like either improve a little bit or a lot, like me. But there wasn't really anything negative. But yeah, their protocol is to give you all these other auxiliary treatments to prepare you to receive the stem cells in the best possible way. High dosing vitamin C, NAD plus therapy. We're getting these in the IV drips, and then hyperbaric chamber. So just concentrating your oxygen at the cellular level. But yeah, I can't even remember all the other stuff. But they're down there. I'm down there for 2 weeks, and I didn't get the injection until like the second to the last day. And then yeah, the injection itself, That was an invasive procedure. It's like getting a spinal tap or something. So
Yeah.
they put me under. That was my first time ever being put under. That was scary, and waking up, and the recovery from that was, a few days of
Intense
real
pain.
hurting. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It's funny because in Mexico they actually have like stricter pain med regulations, so they're kind of
Yes.
stingy with the pain meds.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, if you ever go down there, just know that I didn't expect any improvement. I thought, it's going to be at least 90 days or maybe 6 months. Hopefully I'll start to notice something. 6 weeks later, it was a very sudden, like today, I'm like, whoa, I feel really good.
Probably tripping out.
Yeah.
Something just.
And
that's
having been
wild.
through all that, I still feel like that. Like, I feel so good right now. Like, this morning I was picking up my wife and like carrying her around,
Whoa.
I wouldn't hold the baby before.
Yeah.
And my wife's almost as tall as me, and I'm just like, yeah, I feel like I just want to carry her. So,
That was really weird for Kyle.
He's like,
it wasn't the first time.
But like the first time, I'm sure.
Yeah, the
she's,
first
like,
time,
tripping.
and my kids were looking at me like, wow. And so, yeah, I get to roughhouse with the kids, and I'm just so much more fun to be around, and I'm having so much fun, and I just love life now. And I can't even think of anyone I know that I could be like, oh, you know how it is. Like, I feel like
Nobody knows how it is.
I feel very alone in having endured what I have. People just never will understand it, and that's fine. But I'm just thankful to be here and feel good.
like, how people have these experiences where you've been through something so awful, when like come out the other side and you kind of have this deeper appreciation, or like, I don't know, was there some like perspective that you gained that you could share, like what you learned? Or
Life is precious. I've felt for sure like I wasn't feeling attached to living. Like, I didn't care if I lived for my own sake at all. For everyone else's sake, I wanted to be around, but I knew I was dying and I was ready to die.
Yeah.
The only thing keeping me around was my loved ones. I had to be there for them. The whole notion of life is precious it sounds like kind of trite or like cliche, but it really is so precious.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I think back to our childhood, and I grew up with you just charging. Like, I don't think people understood what you were saying when we started this episode, but Tim's known for hard charging, like crazy waves, like the kind of waves that most people don't want to surf. Like,
I wanted to bring up earlier when you were talking about bodyboarding, when I was dating Bethany on the west side, substitute teach in the like Waimea Canyon, Waimea High School, and they found out I was dating Bethany, like, oh, the soul surfer and blah blah blah, but what they were really pumped on was like Timmy, because like we'd watch Boogie Nation during like free hour or something, and all the boys, everyone looked up to Timmy because he charged really hard, and yeah, just on a whole nother level. Like, yeah, I think everyone was more froth on Timmy on the west side.
that's fine by me. But yeah, it's just like it was really nice to be out surfing the other day and see you get a nice barrel, and just like after having gone through everything the last 5+ years, it was really intense and really scary. And our families are really close, where our children are constantly like hanging out, playing, and we're doing a lot together, and we attend church every Sunday together. And so, yeah, it's just like truly feeling the blessing of, the Lord doesn't always save, but in this case, like, you're still here and you have more life to give. And we're also really grateful for the Cellular Performance Institute, and it's going to be amazing to continue to see. Like, we're definitely going to come back and give an update in like a year or two and just see how you're doing after your third treatment. If not on here, for sure on social media. So
Yeah, it's been funny surfing again because I would be out every morning. I'd surf like twice a day, and before I got real busy with whatever. And even when I was starting to get more sick, I still was such a regular out at the various surf spots that I frequent that I was a staple in the lineup there. And so now when I paddle back out, people are looking at me like, they're like, whoa, he's back. Yep, coming out of retirement.
Resurface.
Yeah, it's pretty funny seeing the looks in their eyes when they see me out there because they were so used to seeing me all the time, and then they didn't see me for like 2 or 3 years.
Do you have any last words for like people who may be going through a super difficult time in their life? I mean, we've seen, being part of like Make-A-Wish, we see a lot of folks who are going through awful health circumstances, but sometimes, don't make it. And like, why does that happen? Is there any like encouragement you could give?
My understanding of all of it is just that this life is a blink of an eye. And that's really in my perspective now. And so just look forward to future glory and suffer. We know we're promised suffering, really. We're not promised not to suffer, certainly, but we are promised to no longer suffer if we are in Christ. So I just can't wait. I know if I suffer further in this life, I know I have the next to look forward to. But yeah, it'll be worth it. So.
Aloha. Thank you so much for listening to All Things Possible. If you love what you're hearing, please remember to like and subscribe. Leave us a review so that we can get some traction and get this out to more people. Timmy is such a light to our family, a light to so many people in the community. We're so thankful for his journey, that he's here with us today, and I hope you are encouraged. And if you are curious about Cellular Performance Institute, that's a mouthful, Cellular Performance Institute, check out the show notes. And also we have a free health resource that we'd like for you guys to check out too, full of things that we're stoked on, has helped us on our health journey and could be very impactful for you too. Aloha, and thank you for listening to All Things Possible. Until next time.